Hello and welcome back to today's episode of the Daily Basketball Recap. My name is Levi Jacob. And first today, we're going to jump into a few news items of the past few weeks. Number one is John Wall announced last week that he is retiring from the NBA. He, in my opinion, is one of the most underrated players throughout the last 15 years, 20 years. He led Wizards teams to several playoff runs that were otherwise kind of unheard of for this franchise to this point. They were in my eyes, they were never serious contenders for an NBA championship. They played against LeBron, I want to say once or twice, and he just brought them a level of prominence that didn't exist before this. Him as alongside Bradley Beal, who's currently on the Clippers. He was I want to say he was in a sense ahead of his time. This athletic point guard, like he's like what a John Morant type is, um, and crazy athletic and fast as well. Like he was just overall a very, very good player, my kind of point guard. He loved to distribute the ball, but he could also score. His perimeter scoring wasn't the best, but it was also not a product of the time. It wasn't the era. The era didn't demand it. But one of the coolest guys on the court at all times. He was just a really good basketball player. Unfortunately, injuries derailed certain portions of his career. His college career also to be mentioned. He played with DeMarcus Cousins at Kentucky. He was a very, very good player, and unfortunately, throughout point guard discussions throughout the years has been thoroughly disrespected as far as his skill level and his effectiveness and his ability to bring a otherwise, almost, don't get mad at me, Wizards fans, but irrelevant team to a more competitive place. So I want to say congratulations to you on your retirement, John Wall, and looking forward to seeing what you do in the future moving forward. The next piece of news is Malik Beasley officially is no longer a target, I want to say, of this case against gambling. That's what they announced, but there are still potential charges against him that are being looked into, and conduct is still being reviewed. So he isn't out of the woods yet. The Pistons, I don't believe, have any longer the same contract that they were willing to offer him, but he showed last season in the Eastern Conference that he is a 3-point threat. So I'm sure there's a lot of teams who want to add him to their roster, not necessarily that have the cap space to do it aside from the Nets. And I don't think that he'll really want to go to the Nets. I think he probably wants to go back to the Pistons, being that he is a prominent piece or he was a prominent piece of what gave them relevance last year. But yeah, we'll see what happens moving forward. But it's an interesting update to all of a sudden. It seemed like a very quick turnaround that he was no longer the, I think it was quote unquote target or subject of this investigation currently. So we'll have to keep our eyes open moving forward. But I personally, I really do think that he actually is a valuable piece to be added to whatever team. Hopefully, if he eventually is cleared of all, wrongdoing and any misconceptions or God knows. I know some of those clips out there look pretty damning, but hopefully he's able to figure it out and return to the court pretty soon. That being said, this episode is going to go into a little bit of a different direction. They released a couple weeks ago, maybe it was the beginning of last week, the NBA 2K26 ratings. I thought it'd be a fun exercise to go through like the top 30 and see if we think that they're deserving of such rankings. So let's do it. We're going to do it together. All right. To start off, we have Bam Adebayo at an 88. He's had a little bit of a offensive regression over the past season. Defensively, there's not as much effort that's been out there, but I think because of the team chemistry, maybe some of the things have come to play. I think, still has it in him to actually be 90. I think 88 is a little bit low. Jaren Jackson Jr. is the next one at 29. He's an 89. I think actually I really liked his last season, and he's shown that he can offensively and defensively really add a lot to this Memphis Grizzlies team. I think that he should be at least a 91. James Harden has an 89 after last season. Also, I think that he deserves to be a 90. He probably will end this season a little bit lower. Last season was like the you know, ultimate season that you would love to see out of an older James Harden. So I think that this season might not necessarily play the same way. Whether it is that he doesn't have as much playing time on court, or uh, who knows. I think he will end up closer to like an 88. Pascal Siakam at 27 is an 89. I think that's a little bit disrespectful. I think that he should be like a 91. He showed throughout the playoffs, even if he had a difficult defensive assignment, that he was versatile enough to help this team. Like Tyrese was the lightning bolt, but he was the follow through of this team and a lot of their offense and sometimes on defense as well. So I think he at least deserves to be a 91. Evan Mobley is an 89. Is the next. It's kind of difficult for me to that they rank these players 30 through 21 because they're all the same rating. But we're listening to, and we'll see a little bit later that there's like a weirder part in regards to that. But this is what it is for now. Evan Mobley at an 89. I think that's a correct assessment. Paolo Banchero is an 89. Yeah. I think that this season his rating will rise. But right now probably an 89. Kyrie Irving at a 90. Yeah, that's probably correct. Trae Young at a 90 at 23. Trae Young should be a 90. I think actually this season his rating's also going to go up. I think this Atlanta team is going to be really, really impressive, and he's going to show why he deserves that 90 rating. And I think that he'll go up also in the list. Jaylen Brown at 22. He is also a 90. I think that he deserves to be around this range. I'm a little bit underwhelmed with how his performances went at the end of the year last year, specifically in the playoffs. So I don't think I would rank him a 90 right now. I think he'd be an 88 for me, honestly, especially on the defensive end. He shines on the offensive end. I was feeling a little bit like it was kind of lackluster. I think 88 would be appropriate for me, but 21. Jalen Williams is a 90. That's correct. I think that's actually the perfect rating for him. He showed you why he deserves to be in that 90 club throughout the playoffs, and especially in the finals. He deserves that 90, and especially he was playing with a broken wrist. That's pretty crazy. Moving on to number 20, Devin Booker at a 91. To say that Devin Booker offered your team more after last season not playing successful basketball than Jalen Williams, I don't think is correct. I think that he is a very good basketball player. I think he, again, deserves to be within this range. I think it's closer to an 89 for me. Ja Morant is a 91. I'm a little bit confused as to why they felt this way after what we were shown. The second half of the season last season, especially closer to the playoffs, he was playing pretty good basketball. But he has a limited game right now. And I think I would also put him closer to an 89. Karl-Anthony Towns is a 92. As long as he keeps making his way to the basket and, being physical, you can let him keep that. You can let him keep that rating. Joel Embiid at a 92. I think this is a little bit disrespectful as far as Joel Embiid. Yes, he has his injuries, but I think that we all know if he was healthy, he would still be a top player in this league. So I think 92 is not fair. I would put him closer probably to a 94, but it is what it is. Cade Cunningham at a 92. Yes. That's a good rating for him. That's number 16. 15 is Kawhi Leonard at 92. I think he should be a 93, actually. You don't know if he's going to play. Obviously, that's the classic thing with Kawhi Leonard, but when he was playing, he always remains to be one of the most competent players on the floor, and it's very, very impressive always to watch him play. So I think 93 is accurate. 93 at number 14 for Tyrese Halliburton. I would have Kawhi Leonard above Tyrese Halliburton for sure. I love Tyrese Halliburton, actually, as a player. 93 is high. 93 is high. I would have him at a 91, I think. But I love Tyrese Halliburton. I think he's awesome. I think there's just so much that he brings to this Pacers team, and I'm sorry that he's not going to be around for at the very least the majority of this season. And I really wish him a good recovery. Number 13, Jalen Brunson at a 93, deserves every single point of that 93. He is this Knicks team's system. It all works around Jalen Brunson. I'm excited to see what Mike Brown does with him. Anthony Davis at a 93. I think he deserves to be a 94, especially last season. He really showed on both sides of the floor why he's such an elite player and why Dallas traded Luka for him. Technically speaking, it doesn't really, very few players can actually show why you would ever do that. But that being said, Anthony Davis is a very, very skilled player when he's healthy, similar to Joel Embiid. When he's able to stay on the court, you got a problem on your hands, especially last season after showing offensive consistency and rebounding chops that really, really back everything up. Donovan Mitchell, number 11, is also a 93. I didn't like how he flamed out in the playoffs. He was injured. I'll give him credit for that. He was injured, but I think he's closer to he had such a great season, right? He showed a lot of willingness to share the ball, and a lot of high basketball IQ was played by him last season to help this team achieve that number 1 seed. But I think it's closer to a 91 for me. I just feel like they were playing against that Pacers team, and it was just painful to watch. It was so painful to watch. That's number 11. Number 10 is Kevin Durant at 93. To tell you that Kevin Durant is better than Jalen Brunson right now, I don't know. I don't agree with that. The same thing with Anthony Davis. I know they're the same rating, but just how they chose to display this, I don't think that Kevin Durant. We'll see. We'll see. Obviously, this season, and he's going to be very, very important for this Rockets team. And I think it's going to help him also be able to expose his whole entire offensive repertoire because of the fact that he's going to be this team's offense. He is a 93, obviously, but I'm just saying in comparison, just the placement at number 10, I don't think I really agree with that. Victor Wembanyama at number 9. That's correct. He's a 94 in this game to start off. Yeah, he's going to be great. Jason Tatum at a 94. I think that Victor Wembanyama is going to be above Jason Tatum. So I think that just again with in regards to the placement, they're the same rating, but in regards to the placement, LeBron James is a 94, and he's number 7. I think I would still put Vic at number 7, put LeBron at number 8, and then Tatum at number 9. Just because Tatum also, he's not going to be here the whole season. Or at least the majority of the season. Steph Curry at number 6. But he's still a 94. I would still put Victor Wembanyama above Steph Curry, I think. I think, I would put Steph Curry actually just because of usage and things like that, especially in the system. Steph Curry, wow, I just realized that in the top 30, they don't have Jimmy Butler. Maybe I'll do the last, no one's going to want to see the last 20. Steph Curry at number 6. I put Vic here. Then, the following afterwards would then be LeBron and people I mentioned. Number 5 is Anthony Edwards at a 95. That's correct. He totally changed his game last season. He totally opened up the perimeter. And then in the playoffs, he pulled all these skill moves out of his bag. He really showed how he has grown as a player. He's just overall just such an impressive player. Anthony Edwards is awesome. He's a 95. I think that's correct. Luka Doncic is a 95 as well at number 4. I think he's going to end up. I think 96 is closer for Luka Doncic. I think Luka Doncic he's just a step better than Ant. I think because of the facilitating that he does, and overall, obviously, is a better defender in my eyes. I don't know to tell you that he's a better scorer than Luka is. I think, maybe. I think Luka just knows how to control the game better because obviously he's also older than Ant. But I think Ant is going to be 96. And I think Luka's going to be 96. I think he should be a 96 at the very least. And number 4 that's correct. Giannis Antetokounmpo at number 3 with a 97. Yes, that is the right rating for him and the right placement. This is where I get a little bit confused about the ratings. Officially, SGA is number 2, is ranked number 2 on their list at a 98. MVP of the league, Finals MVP, Western Conference player, it's league leading scorer, all-star, all-NBA first, everything in regards to SGA, some of the most accoladed player one of the most accoladed players in a single season. I don't know if accoladed is a word, but go along with me. He deserves the 98. Every bit of that 98. He's also the cover athlete for this game. He deserves that 98. And he's at number 2. So, Jokic, number 1. Also a 98. I just don't understand why they would do this. I don't understand why they would do this. Maybe because categorically, in regards to player stats, he has more stats that would put him at the higher 98 standpoint as opposed to Shea. I don't know. I don't know. He's an animal. I think that should be swapped. I think that Jokic should be number 2, SGA should be number 1. But at that point, who cares? Like it's not it doesn't matter so much. That being said, I wonder if they're going to put out a list for the WNBA. I would love to see that happen. So 2K, do your stuff. That being said, this is our first episode back in a couple days. Any suggestions on what you would like us to do? Any more covering of NBA 2K, because I'm a huge 2K fan, please let me know. Please let us know. You can leave it down in the comments, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. I want to wish you a great rest of your day. That was your daily basketball recap in 15 minutes or less. I want to thank you, Shlomo, for being the best co-host. I want to thank you, Max, for producing. I want to thank you all for listening and watching. And I hope you have a great rest of your day. See you tomorrow.